Welcome back to the Burstamo Music Marketing Podcast. Today we're talking about an insanely hot topic for me, and that's artist mentality in terms of what's going through in your head, whether you should cut corners, the patience, everything. So do you want to kick us off, kind of what made us do this podcast?
Well, I think the main one for us is we talk about creating social media content a lot. And I think a lot of the artist mentality and the issues that artists have has kind of come from social media.
Yeah.
And I know that social media has quite a stigma attached to it in a way where people say it causes mental health issues and people are obsessed with the likes and things.
Yeah.
But I think it's especially the case in the music industry because artists are a little bit obsessed with the numbers, a little bit obsessed of appearing larger than they are.
Yeah.
Comparing themselves. I think it's a horrible mindset to be in, and it's really toxic.
I think in social media, let's just park music for a bit, but just look at social media as a whole. People forget you're only seeing like top 3% of people's lives, and you forget how many people you are actually following. So like every time you see someone with a big milestone in their life or something interesting is happening, think about the people that's not happening to. If you're following 700 people, think about the people that aren't doing anything today, because that's what is going through your head the entire time. You go onto your Instagram feed right now, you're going to see the best things people wanted to show you. And I would love it if someone just came out and just showed the kind of nothingness of their life, but it just wouldn't get likes and it wouldn't get engagement.
But it would, and that's the thing. Lewis Capaldi.
Yeah.
I know we always bring him up.
I knew he was coming up. As soon as I said that, I knew that was coming up.
As an example here, his content is so ridiculously raw and so hilarious because it's so true to himself.
Yeah.
He literally sits in his mum's bedroom saying how he can't afford to do anything because the revenue from any of the music, all of the royalties haven't come through yet.
Yeah.
So
I know.
and people are more interested in that than an artist that is bragging about hitting 1 million streams and then you look at it and it's all fake. So
Agreed.
I think that's quite a good thing to go into, like faking it.
Yeah.
Why are artists faking it? What are they faking?
I mean, I would love it. Instead of faking it, you were to say, you know what, I'm going to document my journey, and you just put on your social media what you intended to do this week, what went wrong, why it's hard, why you're struggling, and try and make people relate to it. Now, I do think you would struggle if you were to like whine and moan the whole time on your social media.
No one wants to hear that.
But if you flipped everything into a positive and tried to like grab people's attention, they can relate, and then flipped it, maybe it'll work. I've never seen anyone do it, but it could potentially work. But as you were going to say, what ends up happening is people try and do the positive things all of the time and then just freak out that those numbers just aren't flying because they just see like the big music videos flying and the big artists.
But I think it's so much more enjoyable for someone to take in content that's just true.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we would never brag about having a big office because we don't have one. We wouldn't brag about having a huge team because we don't have one. The whole point is that everything's so like personalized.
That's true.
We've got a small team, we've got a small cute little office, and that's the whole point. We love that. And people always say they work with us because we're really personal and they get on with us as people.
Yeah.
It's the same for musicians. They'd much rather follow someone that they feel personal with, they've got an actual relationship with, rather than you feeling like you're superior, you're the artist, they're your fans, you should have a wall up, because it doesn't work like that anymore.
And I always say in all of my videos, like, when you like try and get big too quickly, you miss out on all the early adopters in music. There are so many people out there who are looking for artists with no followers, looking for artists with no fans, because they get a kick out of showing all of their friends this amazing artist that they've just seen and just discovered, and you're missing out on those people.
I think far too many artists are comparing themselves, so what they'll do is they'll fake it. And one question we get asked quite often is, how do we get verified on Instagram?
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because verification is a little blue tick.
Yeah.
And for the majority of people that are asking, they don't understand why they want it. Verification, you get verified when multiple accounts could be you. So people are basically either making fan pages or they're taking your content and pretending they're you, which isn't going to be the majority of artists because you haven't got a dedicated fan base enough like for that to happen. So to be verified, you need all those things. So why would you want to be verified?
It's a very, very good point, and I don't think we've ever discussed that in our content.
No, we haven't.
How often we get asked, how do you get verified? Because I want to look more official and look like I've made it, and people won't follow me if I'm not verified.
So stupid.
The only advantage I know to being verified is you can DM people without going into requests.
Yeah, it'll go to the top of it as well.
But we go out to influencers and huge accounts every single day saying, we're working with this artist, do you want to give them a shout out, etc.
Yeah.
And it does go into their requests, I think. Sometimes it does. And we haven't had a problem with it.
Because we put the first line as something that's intriguing.
Yeah.
But so we get asked by a lot of people, and I think a lot of you will probably say, well, I know artists that don't have that and they're still verified. They've basically faked it. So what you can do is you can pay for an already verified Instagram account, and then you can just take all the the pictures down, change the profile picture, change the name, change the username, and then you've got a verified account.
Yeah.
There are tons of artists that have done this. They paid a lot of money for it. It's pointless. You look like a tit if you've got a verified account and you're getting no engagement.
I know what the first comment on this video is going to be. It's being like, how'd you get one of those accounts?
Yeah, it probably is.
We know like how badly everyone wants to be verified.
I think a lot of what we say in this video is maybe going to trigger people to do the fake stuff, which for all of you that are going to do that, good luck. You're going to get nowhere. But we've seen it happen. Same with followers. A lot of people buy followers. A lot of people buy comments. They buy engagement. They buy likes. What are your thoughts on that?
So they start with the fact that no one will follow me unless I have X number of followers. And I don't think that's true at all. The pace picks up. The definitely when we hit 10k followers on Instagram at Burstamo, by the way, if you want to go follow.
Nice plug.
Thanks. And then yes, the pace does pick up, but I believe it's because the algorithm is picking you up more. You're getting more engagement, and that's why the pace picks up, not because of the number. The number's going to be low anyway because no one's ever heard of you, so you've got the same credibility whatever your number is. And when you go to an account, you know why people are following. If it's got a lot of followers and the posts just aren't very engaging and you can't work out why this person has a lot of followers, the chances are they're fake. So
I mean, moral of that is pointless. Buying followers, buying likes, buying engagements, all pointless. I think the majority of artists do it purely for like a bit of an ego boost, to show to their friends they've got followers, to show to other artists they're successful. But at the end of the day, it's going to kill the algorithm. You're not going to get pushed out.
That's what I was going to say,
You'll if you have 100,000 followers and only 2,000 of those are real, what are you doing? Like you're getting no real engagement. So you're sort of torturing yourself a little bit. Yeah. Because every time you post, you think, oh, I should be getting 5,000 likes or whatever, and you only get 1,000. That is torture to yourself because you're going to be constantly saying, oh, why is it not good enough? Why is it not this? And it's because they're not real. Yeah. I think a lot of artists, when they pay for followers, they pay for streams, they begin to sort of believe their lies.
They do,
So we've had quite a few artists approach us that have either bought streams or bought followers. And what happens is, say we give them a proposal of what we can do. We'll then look into it and be like, wait a second, we've noticed that X, Y, and Z is fake. And they'll decline it. They'll be like, nope, not true. And then they'll fault our techniques because they're slower. Yeah. All of our techniques are going to be slower.
The real ones are always slower.
So I think a lot of artists genuinely do believe their own lies because you get caught up in it.
And just to mention how the Instagram algorithm actually works, when you make a post, it doesn't go out to everyone on Instagram right there and then. It goes out to about 5% of your audience, and it tests to see who likes it, who comments, or who just stops to view it. Instagram knows if you viewed something, let alone engaged with it. And if it's getting a lot of engagement, then yes, it will push it out to your entire audience. If it gets nothing and no one engages with it, then it's not going to push it out. YouTube algorithm works exactly the same. Yeah. If you've only got like an average of 5 seconds per view on your video, it's not going to push it out. The YouTube algorithm looks at how long you watched a video, not how many views it got. In fact, did you know YouTube own a lot of the fake views buying platforms? Yeah, so they realized that they might as well just put up their own platforms, and then they can see who's buying them all. They give them the views, and you get shadow banned. And then it doesn't go out to anyone. It doesn't go out onto the algorithm. It's just an easier way of detecting fake views because they are the fake view supplier.
That's really clever.
Yeah, so basically their algorithm is so advanced anyway. If you used another supplier, they just know they know what real views look like because most people sign into a Google account anyway.
Yeah.
So they're watching to see how that Google account is kind of active, what it's doing. And then if it's active and coming back to YouTube and watching other videos, then it is going to give it a more credibility as a score for your views.
Yeah, the reason we got into that is because I believe that people buy followers and everything because it's the mentality of I want to prove something. And I think a good way to avoid that and to sort of just feel like you're not trying to impress anyone and actually just be creating content for yourself and for your target audience and your already existing fans is to have a separate account to your personal one.
Yeah.
We say this quite a lot and I do think it's a really good idea. We often see artists, they'll have their own personal account and then they start to play around with music a little bit, they'll start posting on there and then they start to want to be an actual artist and they'll just sort of transfer all of their kind of artist stuff to the personal profile. And
because they're worried about the followers, they want to keep the number.
And the issue with that is you're then creating content for your friends and family. And then your mentality is going to be, oh, I don't want to look stupid in front of them. I don't want them to think that I'm not getting any engagement. I don't want them to think that my artist career isn't going well. And then again, you're playing mind games with yourself.
Yeah.
And if you create a separate account where you don't even tell anyone about it, if they discover it, cool. But create that account and then just focus on putting out content that you enjoy, you think your audience are going to enjoy, and you'll be loving it. Like, it's exactly what we did. We created the Burstimo account. We started playing around with content. We put it on YouTube, we put it on Instagram. Yeah, our family and friends started to see it, but they don't really care about it. They forgot about it. It's not their thing. And it's the best way to do it because you end up not worrying about other people's opinions.
Yeah, for those watching, can you imagine what it'd be like just this hypothetical bubble where you're going to create content and create a fan base where no one is going to see it that you know in your friends and family circle and it is going out to new people only? Would your content change? Would your approach to it change?
Yeah.
And I think it would. I think people worry too much because I understand that as a musician, you're taking a different route through life and people are going to question it and not understand it necessarily. And therefore, you feel you need to prove something quicker and you're kind of scared to fail. You're scared to fail in front of people, whereas it would be so much easier if just no one knew about it and you can just, if it fails, great, no one knew about it anyway. And then you just kind of just unleash everything and you've got no boundaries to go out there and do it. So if you have a problem with pressure from friends and family, absolutely go and start a new fresh account and don't tell anyone about it and just start creating content and putting your music out there.
What I also suggest doing is look at your follow account as actual people. It can be really easy to see them as numbers, and I would say we do the same as well sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking, God, we haven't gone up many followers much, we're not getting much engagement here and here. But then you look at it and you've got thousands of people viewing your content, thousands of people engaging with you. You might only have 100 people, but imagine a room full of 100 people listening to that song that you put on, listening to that cover song, listening to what you have to say, listening to what you're saying on your Instagram story. That is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if you think about it like that, think about the room full of all those people. It will change your mentality entirely. And you'll be less doing it about getting the followers, looking at the numbers. You'll be doing it more for the people. And that's the most important thing. And you'll feel so much more humble, so much more kind of valued.
Yeah, and I think this all comes from artists looking at other established artists to see for inspiration, just to see what they are doing. They want to know how to get big. So what they do is they go to a big artist's Instagram account and look at what they're doing because that must be the formula to get big. But it's not. You should have been looking at what that artist was doing before they got big. You can be lazy when you're at the top. If you go onto any big artist's Instagram, they know they're going to get the likes. They hardly post. It's just random nice pictures. But yeah, you should be looking at Instagram accounts where you're kind of at the bottom. And a lot of accounts, this is something that at Burstimo we also kind of need to shift as well, because I've noticed this in our posts and things like that, is that remember that you are talking to one person when you are creating your content. So I see a lot of artists, they say, what do you all think of this? Or what does everyone think of this? And that everyone or all means you're broadcasting. It doesn't mean that you are speaking to one person. But at the end of the day, the person watching this right now, you're on your own. You are one single person.
Yeah.
If you put out an Instagram story, the person consuming it is one single person. Same with the posts. You're talking to one person, always be putting out content for one single person, and it makes people feel more valued. It makes you feel like you're talking to them. So that will always help growing your following and create a more personal feel to your fan base.
So we've spoken about kind of fake followers, fake engagement. It's the same with Spotify. We're seeing a lot of fake streams. So, and artists believe it. They will be seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of streams coming from a playlist which has nothing to do with their genre. It'll be a Netflix soundtrack. And you get caught in this idea that, maybe these people do like
you
my
want
music.
to believe it.
Of course you do. You want people you want to think that these people are listening to your music.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's bots, or it's nothing to do with your music. They just got it on while they're doing their homework or something because they're kids. And it doesn't mean that you're getting streams. And often I think artists know that it's not real. They'll go onto Fiverr, they'll pay $10 for 100,000 streams, and then the next day they'll be like, oh my god, 100,000 people listen. It doesn't work like that.
I get DMs every single day from people asking me saying, I just paid like $20 for like 10,000 streams, but they said on their website it was organic.
Yeah.
And of course
the one I've heard a lot, and I can't work out if this one's true or not because I can see how it would work. They say that they run ads on the playlist, on social media profiles, and it sounds legitimate.
Oh, what,
but
Facebook and Instagram ads?
It sounds legitimate, but then you look at the playlist and you're like, nah, surely not. I just don't believe that any playlist can generate more streams than their followers, more streams than an official, more streams than anything like that. So that's why I'm sort of just feel like artists should forget the streaming numbers.
Yeah.
Just forget it.
Yeah.
Focus on the engagement. Focus on, when you release a song, how many DMs do you get? How many people do you get messaging you saying they love that song? They really found the lyrics relatable. They played it in their car on the drive to work. Messages like that mean a million times more than any stream, because a stream can come from someone clicking play on a playlist, playing half of it and then muting it because they're having a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're getting a stream. Forget about that. Focus on the engagement and you'll feel so much better about it.
Yeah. Do you know what would change all of this? Stripping out the numbers from all social media, all Spotify, all YouTube.
Instagram are doing that though, aren't they? Yeah.
You linked me to an article that said that they're testing it. And
it's in America at the moment. I think they said they're doing it in a few states.
It's like Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, things like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they've just changed it all. And imagine what your mentality would be like if no one could see your YouTube views apart from you. No one could see your Spotify streams apart from you, or your monthly streams. No one could see the number of followers or engagement you are getting. What would your strategy be?
Yeah.
Because I think it would massively change.
Yeah.
It would take away all of the pressure, and you wouldn't have to tell anyone about how many likes you're getting on a post.
Yeah.
You just create content for those private numbers.
Yeah, and I also think that's why people are obsessed with playlists and playlist promotion companies and using Fiverr to get on playlists because they want to get those streams up immediately. They hate that dreaded under 1,000 streams. So many artists have an actual phobia of it because they think it looks unprofessional, they think it looks stupid. But who cares? If you have listeners, they're listening for a reason because they like the music. They're not listening because you've got X amount of streams. It doesn't work like that. So I think that if you're focusing on the numbers, you're going to end up just killing yourself with it. You're going to end up being in this mental game of trying to you're fighting against yourself a little bit because no one else really cares. The only people that, if anyone comments on your numbers, they are probably so unbelievably stupid anyway. If anyone says, oh, you don't have enough followers or you don't have enough streams to be a serious musician, you do not need them in your life at all. Which I think leads us quite nicely into kind of who you should surround yourself with to help your artist mentality.
True.
I think we mentioned this in a previous podcast about how, I think it was the networking one. We spoke about how surrounding yourself with people that have a similar mindset is really important, but it can feel really difficult because you're on a separate path.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think it's really, really useful if you surround yourself with people that have similar goals, have similar aims, and that doesn't have to be music related. No. It just has to be people that are working for something they're passionate about.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with this more because you need to be able to vibe off people. You need to be able to just... They say that you become the average of the closest 5 people around you. I believe that is
Everyone
so
says
true.
to me that we speak exactly the same and we have quite similar mannerisms.
Do we?
Yeah, but I don't believe it because obviously I see you every day. People say we're very similar, And I genuinely believe that's
our
because we
videos
spend so
are
much
so
time.
different though.
But maybe the way we communicate and stuff. But maybe that's because you spend so much time with each other.
I think that's very true. There are things
Yeah.
where I genuinely believe that I've said it as if it was my own point and it was probably your point, and
vice
you've said
versa,
it,
yeah.
and it's like you think it could.
But how
because we spend
amazing
so
is
much time-
that if the person that you're surrounding yourself with is exactly what you want to be like.
Yeah.
So if the person that you're spending time with has the same morals as you, has the same aims as you, has the same like working mentality as you, and you're vibing off them, you're going to end up having the exact same actions. You're going to have the exact same mannerisms, literally everything the same, which is amazing because it means you're progressing every single day rather than feeling like you're a little bit of a burden on your friends, feeling like you can't really speak about your passions. That's the worst thing, and you'll end up feeling really lonely.
Yeah, and it means that you've got a a yardstick to be able to understand how fast you should be progressing because you are around people in that same position, same mentality, and it keeps you patient as well because I think it was you on one of your Instagram posts said everything takes 10 times longer than you ever expect it to. It's insane. Like everything in life, everything we do, not because we're slow, but because it takes 10 times longer to do anything. Hiring, we've got job ads out at the moment and we thought that we'll have the job filled in a week. It's taken a month. Everything takes longer to achieve, even when it comes to spending money, not just earning money. So be patient and understand that you're on a journey and everyone's path ends at some point, but we're all just on a different timeline.
Yeah, what I always compare it to is quite often you'll see that celebrities are friends with other celebrities. YouTubers are usually friends with other YouTubers. And the reason for that is because they can relate to their issues. They can talk about what's going on. Because I'm not going to be friends with Brad Pitt. Because what conversation can he have with me? And it's the same with a lot of artists. You cannot have a conversation about what you love doing, your issues in your life, with someone that is a baker. You're probably going to struggle to. And that's completely fine. But you need to try and surround yourself with those people that can relate to you and can have those conversations with you. So you can find them on social media, you can find them at networking events, and we've done full videos on networking which you can check out. And I genuinely think that helps a lot of artist mentality quite a bit.
I think it's a good place to leave it.
I think that's a good one. If you found this one useful, definitely leave us a review and make sure to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and we'll be back soon with another one.